This is the mini energy update for the week of July 25th through the 31st. First off, my friends, y'all, July has felt like I have lived a year in 3 weeks. It has been so interesting, just the energy of this month and the dynamics and how different it has felt than the other months this year. And, a big part of it is also we had two full moons in Capricorn, one in June 21st and then one July 21st. And as I've been increasingly become even more highly sensitive than I have been before, I am so much more in awareness of things. And this month it's really felt like I've lived a year in 3 weeks. And that shifting last week, especially towards the end of the week, going into with the full moon energy, was just extraordinary. And I feel like completely different in how I feel and where I'm at in the experience, which is just so, so nice. And so check in to see how you're feeling. And with that, let's talk about the energy of this week. So, for this upcoming week, it is all about trusting the unfolding of events rather than imposing expectations. And with that, my friends, as we are in this period also of this transformation, there may be some mental confusion that may arise now. And so, what you want to do is seek clarity within your inner stillness rather than from external opinions. There can be multiple valid perspectives, but the one aligned with your heart is what truly matters. Not everything needs to be logical. The most beneficial path will always resonate deeply within you. Pay attention to signs and details. When unsure, rely on your intuition, personal intentions, and supportive allies. Make sure to use your tools, my friends. Allow also others the freedom to navigate their own journeys without judgment during this time. Honor past wounds, and if anything is coming up, to be processed and healed. Let yourself use your tools and also seek support if you need it for healing as a way of and a means of moving forward. This is a transformative phase where beginnings can take shape. So, this is where the new beginnings are going to be taking shape, my friends. And there is going to be more on this. I just wanted to do a mini energy update and also just share my experience and encourage you to also tune in to see how you are feeling and where you are in the experience, my friends. And what's been interesting also, just in sharing this mini energy update, how it was mentioning how sometimes when you're getting a calling to do something, you may not completely understand it or it may not seem logical. And many, 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 many years ago, when I was a child, around 5 years old, I was downloaded with information. And the guides spoke to me about how one day I was going to be moving from Massachusetts to California to work in television. And obviously, all the details were not given to a 5-year-old, but I just had this deep knowingness and understanding that that was my path. However, it wasn't really logical in some ways. And I lived in a small town in Massachusetts. And during my time in school, when I was in eighth grade, we were going over what we wanted to be when we grew up. And I said, I'm going to work in television. And one of the teachers said, you want to be practical. That's not practical. And that's never basically going to happen. And so it wasn't logical to this teacher that that's what I was being called to do. And because there was nobody in the town or in the city, the school was in a small city. There wasn't anyone that we knew per se that worked in television or maybe even had moved out to California at that time. It just did not seem like a path forward. And so, even though the teacher may have thought, she was being supportive in some ways to help guide me, it did. It had the kind of the opposite effect where her no became even my bigger yes. Like, well, why not? Well, why can't I? I know this isn't seemingly logical, but I have this knowingness in my heart, and I don't really understand how it's going to unfold, but I can just feel it. And it was just this deep knowingness in my heart, and my intuition was guiding me. And so it was a really important moment on my path in terms of a crossroads where am I going to listen to, the inner voice, my intuition, my higher self soul, my guide team, or am I going to focus on the external and keep myself in some ways caged in and boxed in? Or am I going to let myself take a path that, at that time, some may not have understood what it was going to be. And that was my moment. And so I feel like once again, in some ways, in a different way, I have been experiencing these things, and it's just been so amazing how like you have this knowingness, but are you really going to let yourself be guided by it? And even though you're not quite sure the path forward, are you going to allow yourself to get onto the path and show up in the present moment to be guided to the future that you already understand lies within your heart? And so this is where we are. And so I encourage you to take some time to reflect, meditate, journal, see where you are in the experience and see what your heart is calling for you, what your intuition is calling for you. Connect to your higher self soul, your guide team, have a conversation, and let the wisdom be downloaded to you. Take some time to workshop where we are and reflect, process, and journal, and also meditate, pray, and ask for the support and the guidance, and just know that you are being guided and supported, and you are also so so loved, my friends. I know that sometimes in this human experience it can be challenging, it can be confusing, it can be all things. And also, this humaning can be really, really amazing. And this month, I feel like I've had the assortment of all of it, and it's been truly tremendous. Like I said, I feel like I lived a year in 3 weeks, and coming through it, I feel really extraordinary at this moment, and I feel so so grateful that sometimes just hanging on is probably the hardest part of it, and doing the work and showing up, doing the clearings, the energy clearings, showing up, doing the meditation work and processing, journaling, and now being in this moment, I just feel so incredibly, like, so filled with joy and peace and happiness and gratitude and so present. And I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. So that's it for now, my friends. Much, much love.